episode 152 of Soccer Over Gotham. We're so back edition. We have a great show. And so Gotham looks like Gotham. I guess it's a good or bad thing, however you want to look at it. But it was a defensively sound game where all they needed was one goal, and they got it from who else? Esther. And they beat Boston Legacy in a slugfest that was very interesting. Set the record for the most yellow cards in an NWSL match. Then we have some news coming up regarding City Field, which we'll find out about tomorrow. We'll break down this tactical game and see who the fan thoughts were the hero of the match. Then we will look ahead to not one, not two, but three home matches in 1 week. I mean, we are so back. This is crazy because the fuel prices are going crazy, and I'm not happy about 9 hours of driving next week. So the first one up is going to be against the Courage. How can Gotham start the season with 2 wins? We will talk about that, and then we'll talk about our manifestations and get out of here. First, Justin, welcome to Soccer Over Gotham. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me jump on, and excited to
Yes.
talk to Gotham tonight.
Yeah, tell our fans like where they can find your work and like your podcast covering Pittsburgh.
Yep, absolutely. So I have 2 different podcasts that I'm a part of. So one is about the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. My wife and I spent
Mm-hmm.
9 years in Pittsburgh and following the Riverhounds and all the things that are going on there. And then I also have been a Philadelphia Union fan for a long time. That's kind of how I got connected with Gotham and their visits to Subaru Park. And so excited to kind of jump on here and talk a little bit more about Gotham, but just really love soccer and love talking about it and being a part of what's happening with soccer in the U.S.
Yeah, indeed, and it's glad to see that trips to Philly were paying off, getting some good fans over here
Yes.
with Gotham. It's good to expand their fan base. I just want to start with shout out to all of the women's sports fans out there. I just want to let you guys know that you're all killing it right now. And just in the New Jersey, New York area, it's blowing up, and it's insanity how far we've come in the 5 years we've been covering this league and this team. And part of what our mission is to obviously give a professional level podcast for Gotham SC, but it's also to create more eyes. A rising tide lifts all boats. We want to create more chances for women's sports in this area. We want to help celebrate that as much as we can. So let's talk about some of these wins that we've been having. Let's start with Gotham. Gotham, 30,000 fans away at Boston. Incredible. We're going to talk about that. Just incredible. Then we have 3 home games. Hopefully that's well attended as well. And Gotham is one of the only NWSL teams that had an increase in attendance last year. A lot of teams dipped a little bit once that shine went off of the West Coast teams. But Gotham is still growing and growing and growing, and 2 championships in 3 years is not a bad thing. Then we have the Sirens. The Sirens just played in front of 9,000 fans at the Prudential Center against the Ottawa Charge, and they beat them 6-2. Incredible on International Women's Day. Awesome. And then they are going to MSG. They're taking over MSG. This is huge. Officially sold out. About 18,000 fans this stadium can hold for a women's hockey game in New York is such an incredible thing. I looked at some of the secondary market tickets of like $200 something. They find like nosebleeds. What a change from a league that just started to 2 years ago. Incredible. Also, the Liberty, negotiations are still going on there for the WNBA, but I have faith that they're going to get through. It's been a long bargaining period, but once that gets going, then we got the Liberty back, which is amazing, and they're growing incredible. Then we have the Charging. The New York Charging just won the preseason Maybelline Women's Lacrosse Championship preseason tournament, and their season kicks off in May. So that is growing. This is their first official season. Incredible. Then you got more. So the rugby, the New York Exiles are kicking off their season in May as well. They are playing their first home match at the stadium at Memorial Field, and that is in Mount Vernon, New York. That's in May 9th. So we're gonna have Gotham, we're gonna have the Sirens, we're gonna have the Charging, we're gonna have the Exiles, and possibly the Liberty, all going on at the same time. How amazing is that, considering where we come from? What are your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
mean
lot.
it's absolutely incredible, and I think it's so fun. Last year, following Pittsburgh, they started the W League team, in the USL's version, league, and for a second division or third division, whatever there are, women's side, Pittsburgh had 3 or 4 thousand fans show up to these games, where some of the other teams had a couple hundred fans, and it was so fun just to be a part of something, be a part of what's happening with women's sports, and be able to watch these women do what they do. And so, yeah, definitely go support, be a part of this stuff.
No doubt. And then news coming tomorrow, which is Gotham FC will make a major announcement at Citi Field, New York, on March 17th, 3 p.m. So we should also be checking our social media feeds for that. Gotham FC owner Terlin Tish, Blodgett GM Yael Averbuch West, and Tierna Davidson, Jess Carter, NWSL COO Sarah Jones Simmer, and the New York Mets EVP of Ballpark Operations Katie Haas will be on hand to make an announcement. I don't know what this is. I hope it's going to be maybe playing a game or two over in Citi Field, which would be nice for the fans. Bad for me. That's like 2 hours and 15 minutes from where I am, and even further from where you are. So, but that's a huge news, and the sport is growing. And again, shout out to everybody who's put even an ounce of effort into building women's sports. It's been an incredible ride, and can't wait to keep going. It's awesome. Justin, let's talk about this game. We talked about it. 30,000 fans in Boston to watch their rival, Gotham FC, come in and take a win off of them in the largest ever inaugural home opener attendance in NWSL history. The Boston Breakers' last official NWSL game was a 4-3 loss to Sky Blue FC, now Gotham FC, on September 30th, 2017. First full circle moment. New team, obviously not the Breakers, not part of them, but at least they're back in Boston against Gotham, which is so cool to be able to see. Now, Justin, coming out, this was not what you wanted to see, which was a pretty heavy injury list coming into this game. Bernini out with her hamstring, Ryan Campbell, Mandy Freeman, Guro is coming soon. Tali was out with her thigh, and Taryn is still out with her season-ending knee injury, which puts Midge Purse back at right back, and then adds Katie Stengel up top instead of Esther. Like, your thoughts when you saw this lineup coming in?
Yeah, I think Esther obviously coming back from being off and being away from the team for a bit. So you kind of, I think I kind of expected that one to be honest. That it's like, all right, we can ease Esther back into starting and all of that kind of stuff. So you want to see kind of what she has and all of that. But I think yeah, the one in midget right back, I was like, what's happening with that? But she did okay. So can't complain too much.
Yeah, she played 14 games back there in her career so far. She's obviously a full winger who can play on the defensive side, so it's not too far off to put her there. Obviously, we'd rather have her on the attacking side, which I think she did fine. Obviously, Gotham gave up 0 goals, so it worked out. But I just like this midfield of Howell, McCaskill, and Shapansky. This is going to be interesting because we see how Boston comes out in a 3-back, and they just overload the midfield, which we'll get to. But first, just the scenes of this place. Obviously the place holds probably 70,000 fans, so 30,000 is about half of what their lower bowl was pretty filled out. And this was interesting. They had just put in the grass for the World Cup, and I still thought it was turf because that ball was bouncing. This was like super grass. And it seemed like the ball was just getting away from players, and obviously the wind was pretty crazy as well. Just your thoughts on like just the atmosphere, and it just seemed like neither team had a hold of this game in the first half.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a first game of the season in a lot of ways. That like
Mm-hmm.
both teams were a little bit like, I don't know where everybody's gonna be exactly, and we're trying to figure out how to, and you kind of expected that from Boston in some ways, I guess. As a new team, they're just getting their feet under a lot of players coming in, trying to figure out how to play together. You wouldn't expect it as much from Gotham, but I think with Boston having been that way, it was a little bit kind of back and forth and trying to figure it out. Conditions were crazy. The wind was wild. There was a couple balls that went up in the air and then just sort of dropped where they went up, and so those are always hard to read when you're trying to play those.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was at certain points the ball was either skipping, and then this favors players like Esther, it favors players like Jess Carter who like to bring the ball down, sit on it, and be a little more patient with it. Players like Midge Purse who like to get on the ball, like to get around players. That ball's going to carry, it's going to go over the line, it's going to be hard to control. So this game, you're going to see in the end, when we go to the stats, like those two players, Jess Carter and Esther, did really well in this game there. And you also saw like Jaelin Howell, like the ball would roll and she would just let it go and she'd run around it to try to wait for it to
Yep.
stop. She just didn't want to
Yep.
make a touch on it and cause a problem. But this was a slog. I mean, it was midfield battle and good kudos to McCaskill, Howell, and Shapansky because they were getting overloaded, run into, knocked around, and they took a beating. 6 yellow cards in total for Boston, 3 for Gotham, a new NWSL record. And it was clear that like Boston just wanted to disrupt Gotham's midfield as much as possible and just try to overload them as much. So your thought on like this, the tactical and how aggressive Boston came out?
Yeah, Boston definitely came out aggressive and trying to not let Gotham get into any sort of rhythm, and they really didn't until the second half, in a lot of ways. But I thought, yeah, I mean, I thought Savannah, Jaelin were both really, really good, and both they definitely both took a beating, for sure, but stayed in when they need to, got to the ball when they needed to, made the fouls that they needed to at times. And so I think that just shows how good both of them are and how good this midfield can be. Um, I thought Sarah had a good game as well. But it was a tough game for them. And it was kind of the game that you were, felt like the announcers kept saying, Midge needs to get up the field. She needs to get up the field. And it was a game where it's like, man, if you could have gotten out wide a little more often, but the win was tough to try to put the ball up and out to let her run onto it. So it was a tough game to try to figure out how to get around Boston or make Boston uncomfortable in some ways.
Yeah, you're right. About Midge getting forward. Boston was their most effective when Midge did get forward, and they were playing those long balls across to try to get behind her when she got forward. So that is absolutely true. But then we're so back. Esther gets on the field, finds her spot in the box, and let's just talk about this goal for a minute. Like Jaden gets in the ball in the midfield, gets hit. She turns on the player, takes the hit well, and then her vision from like 35, 40 yards out is just incredible. Lily breaks up the play around midfield, and then Jaden just to be able to see where Lily was heading to and played her in stride. And this is what we want to see from Lily this season. Last season, it was like she's obviously got all the physical tools. She's incredible. She's fast. She's strong. She's got everything. But one thing that she's lacking a little bit was touch on her balls across. She just seems like just put her body into it and just knock balls into the box as hard as she can. But this was a really good ball behind the back line. Dudley almost gets to it. We'll get to her in a minute, but ball bounces out and the stairs just that's a tap in for us from a stare from like 10 yards out. What a goal from her. And yeah, it just feels like we're just had to be her. We're so back.
Always. And you thought she was going to get one a couple minutes earlier on the big free kick that kind of landed right at her feet in the box with
Mhm.
nobody on her, and she tapped it back over the keeper and just kind of missed the dip under the crossbar. And so I thought, oh, she got one. No, so close, so close. But yeah, great positioning by her, and that's what I thought Jaden was passing to at first. But and I was like, oh, she put it too far out there. But then I hadn't seen Lily making the run further out, and kind of further down the field. So yeah, great ball by Lily too, putting that in the middle of the box.
Yeah, let's talk about the player almost got it on the end of that. Jordan Dudley, what a debut from her. I mean, we're talking an exceptional talent. Like tall, fast, can knock balls down, come back into the play, involve her teammates. She nearly got an assist, nearly got a goal. And she's also like really tall. And for a team that likes to close down space pretty quickly, I mean, 2 strides from her, she can close down about 10 yards. And she played really well. And also good on her. She kept her cool that entire time, and she was getting mugged out there. Just incredible her performance. What's your thoughts on her?
Yeah, she was great for sure. I said about halfway through the second half, I'm like, she's gonna be a problem all season long. And
Hmm.
especially the two of them, putting this there and Dudley on the field in the second half, like that just messed Boston up completely. And you saw a couple of the defenders losing, that's a couple of yellow cards there in the on both of them sort of, and so yeah, it's going to be a problem for teams with Dudley kind of being as tall and as big as she is, and then Esther kind of running off of her. It's going to be tough to defend for sure.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of everything. She was able to get behind the line. She runs that line between the center back and the outside back. She got into the corner behind the defense, and when she's around the box, you see that her head is up, which is awesome. She includes her teammates, but a great performance from her. Amazing. And then let's talk about this rivalry. I think just as someone who grew up in New Jersey from the area, when you mention Boston to any New York, New Jersey sports fan, immediately your blood starts to boil and be able to get off the mark in their house in front of that crowd to get a win on the road, draw first blood, incredible on that as well.
Yep, absolutely. That's why you want it.
Yeah, no doubt. And it just feels like more than 3 points because you
Mhm.
want to get this rivalry started quickly. And there's some things where like like the Washington Gotham rivalry, it's there. It's because everywhere you turn, it's Washington. You get them because you're playing on the field with against another team in games that matter, and it builds over time. Then there's like New York and Boston where it's just there. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
saw the way Boston came out. They treated this as a rivalry already. They came prepared. So
Yeah,
I
and
can't wait to see them
it
add
doesn't
on.
matter. It doesn't matter, and it's the first game, and like that's what you want to see out of the first game with two teams. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, this matters, and the teams are going to go after it and go for it, and so it's fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, and good on them. And just in general, I thought they played the game very well, and that grit and that determination and that forget the yellow cards, that physicality, that will win you some games, right? That
Hmm.
against a lesser midfield than Gotham's, that's going to be a pretty good recipe to dominate some teams that have again lesser midfielders there as well. But is there any individual performances that you wanted to highlight from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Emily and Jess were fantastic. Um, and they were playing some good attackers, especially in the second half when Boston brought Njembe on, and Njembe and Traore were kind of going at it. They were figuring something out there for a little while. But Jess and Emily did a really good job of kind of weathering that storm, trying to figure out what they were trying to do together, and they were able to kind of keep them off the board. And so I think, and they didn't. There was no shots, so it was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun to watch them, do that. And so I thought they were the two of the better players on the night.
Yeah, but to piggyback on that, I'm going to add Howell into there. I thought the three of them didn't put a foot wrong all match. Boston only had one shot inside the box, and Gotham had every one of their shots inside the box except for one. So just to be able to control this match with the speed that they had coming up front, Howell, Carter, Sonnet, amazing. What a performance by the three of them. And again, Midge and Lily as well. But our defense is back. And it's going to
Yes.
be interesting when we have to cross the road when Davidson is back. I mean, Carter and Sonnet are a good pair. I mean, they did
Hmm.
give it. Well, they gave it one goal in the playoffs, and then they just gave another
Yep. Something like
shutout.
that.
They play well together. It's like good cop, better cop, uh, with them too. But any stats that you wanted to talk about?
Um, yeah, I mean, I thought the one shot outside of the box for Gotham was interesting. It worked in this game because I think we were able to get into the box a ton. But it's like in some of these games where teams throw a bit of a lower block at you, like where are those shots going to come from, and do your shots come from outside the box, and all of that, and so I thought that was the one that kind of, as I was scrolling, kind of stood out to me a little bit. I was like, only one shot out, but we had the opportunity to get in and make those shots from inside the box, so it wasn't a problem in this game, but in a different game against a different team in a different system, like where are those shots going to come from, and how are you going to challenge teams when you can't get into the box the way you want to?
Yeah, it's something we're definitely going to keep a eye on during the season. I want to highlight just how physical this game was. There was a ton of duels, and Gotham held their own against a very physical team. They won 53% of their ground duels and 86% of the aerial duels. So good on Gotham. And again, only allowing one shot inside the 18. Defense, defense, defense. Fans voted Esther as the hero of the match, 55.2% over Howell, Shaw, and Carter. Do you agree, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, you can't in a 1-0 game like that. I think you got to give it to the goal scorer. Um,
Yeah.
as a contrarian at times,
Mhm.
I think Jaelin was fantastic. I like that turn on the goal and everything else. She was doing a lot of that during the game. And it's good, I think, for Gotham. Like, one of the advantages you have is a lot of players who are on the national teams and in national team duty. And so they're coming into this season a little more fit because they've, been playing games over the last couple of weeks. And so that definitely looked like it. Like, Jaelin looked like she's been playing games for a little while now. And so I think that's going to help Gotham in these early parts of the season.
Yeah, I agree with the fans, but also Howell, Emily, and
Yep.
Jess Carter for those as well. So let's get some fan thoughts. Let's go over to Blue Sky for this one. Noxious Whim said the second half was much better. Would have liked another goal after Boston went down to 10 players, but thankfully, one goal is enough to secure the win. Excited to see how the squad improves once we're at full strength. Boston had it out for Dudley, but she handled it well. 100%. Dudley held it very, very well. And Nick said, obviously super sloppy. Yeah, the conditions. Yeah. So fitting for a Boston New York match to break the league yellow card record on his first possible outing. Of course, glad to see Boston have a decent squad and a new rivalry has already started. Hero to Dudley for somehow booking half of Boston's starting 11 and getting some nice chances. Indeed. Then Ed said, Shaw to Reel to Esther for the win. It's a 3-hero day. Dudley took a good shot late, but a pass to her left to Rose. I did notice this. There was a moment late in the game where Dudley gets a shot on target. Rose was creeping to her left side. I think the TV camera made it seem that Rose was more open than she was, but yeah, let the rookie have it. Let her have a shot. Did not love how close it was, even after the red card. Hopefully, easy wins come more easily this year. Yeah, Justin. Gotham is being Gotham, and that is a good thing. But it's also they just do not have a killer instinct. They just do not.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw that was like there was a 4-0 win over Angel City with Jace getting a goal and doing a backflip. But like other than that, I mean, Gotham is a 1-0, 2-1 winner. They're so comfortable playing with a 1-goal lead. It's maddening. Hopefully with Dudley on the field, hopefully with these new players, with Guro, with Wrighton on the field, hopefully we can score some more goals.
Yeah,
Tired.
it's one of
I
those
think.
things
Yeah.
that you want teams to go after. You want teams to have that killer instinct, but then you look at a
Mm,
team like Gotham, and Gotham is super disciplined, and they
mm.
don't do a whole lot wrong. And so even in this game, you think they had 3 yellow cards. Well, one of those was just accidentally bumping Traores. She's trying to get out of the way, and she's trying to
Yeah.
not make that foul, and still gets the yellow for it. I think it was fair, but still, it's like that wasn't really a yellow. And a couple of the other ones, I think one of the other ones was not really a yellow either. And so it is interesting. It's like, we want a team to go, but if they go and they go hard, then they might, you might give up a goal on the other end. So, but it goes both ways for sure.
Out. So Gotham is above the line for the first time this season. And every game this weekend was decided by 1 goal, which is pretty cool. That's a great start to the season, except for, I mean, Chicago, what is you doing? I mean, Chicago put out like the weirdest lineup. They had players playing all over out of position. Poor Maitani, trying to do everything she can in the midfield. They got overrun by Angel City. Is there any other games around the league? Did you want to make a note of anything?
No, I didn't get to actually watch a ton from around the league this
Yeah.
weekend, so didn't see much. But
Yeah. Washington looked out of sync without Bethune in the midfield, so that's going to be something to watch. That's a team that has high expectations, and they lost a pretty big part of their engine of their midfield. So I think Casey is one of those teams where they're going to be lucky if they all stay healthy. I don't think their roster depth is as good as it should be. They have they're very top heavy. So if Shawinga's not quite all the way back, I think they're going to be like an Orlando team where if everything goes right, everyone stays healthy, they can make a huge run at it. But I don't know. I'd be worried if I was a KC fan. Any injury that pops up. Then San Diego gets Macario on the high impact player deal this time. I still hate this rule. It's the stupidest rule ever, and it only benefits 5 teams in the league, 6 maybe. And I don't like it. Just increase the salary cap, but it's good to see Macario back in the league. Um, Yeah, and Gotham is one of those teams that could benefit from this rule, but I still don't like it. Like, there's Utah is not signing Macario, so it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Upcoming, we got on the 21st, Gotham FC is home against North Carolina Courage. Our friends, a team that likes to hold the ball, and when they don't have the ball, they get the ball back, and then they hold the ball again. Then we got on Wednesday, we got Denver Summit. We get the Boo Heaps in person on the 25th, which is exciting. And then the 29th, we got Orlando at home. Good to see them as well. I think they should be worried as well. I watched their game this weekend. They look like they have some roster holes, even with Banda back. I don't think they've done enough to bolster their roster and get back to that championship kind of form. So I'd be worried if I was an Orlando fan as well. But any thoughts on Courage coming to town with a new coach and possibly a new identity?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for Gotham, you just want to get off to a hot start, get as many points as you can early in the season. I think one of the things we've said on our Philadelphia podcast for a long time is points on the board are better than potential points. And so it's like, if you can get a bunch of points on the board here early, then, those are actually points you have rather than trying to get potential points later. And so you don't want a situation like last season where you're like, will we make the playoff? What's happening? We're sitting right on the line. Like, get these points early, then, you are able to do that. And so it's always interesting when you're facing a team with a new coach and maybe new identity, new system. They may not have everything quite figured out. Players are trying to learn new things. And so maybe Gotham could take advantage of that and get another 3 points in the back.
Yeah, the Courage have their identity. They are a possession-oriented team, and it's even with a new coach, they're still going to be that's still going to be part of their identity. They were built that way, so that's going to be interesting to see how much Gotham can get up the field and force them to maybe not sit on their forwards as much. Maybe sit back, let them play around the ball in the back, and then just turn them over, and then catch them up the field. I think that's the goal here for Gotham. Then Denver is going to be just like Boston. We really don't know. I mean, we've got a little bit of an idea from watching them last week, but we're going to see what they're going to come into. It's going to be new. I'm excited for that. And then Orlando, we know who Orlando is. Very aggressive, very vertical, still sit back in a low block. So this is where we're going to see if Gotham has learned some things from the past couple seasons about teams to sit in low blocks. So I'm excited for all of them. I'm not excited for driving 9 hours in 1 week. I mean, gosh, that's crazy. I got an audiobook. So I finished reading The Library at Hellbore. Meh. But I'm also reading starting on my soccer activism reading. So I'm reading Football Era, which is the history of women's sports in Latin America. Then once I get done with that, I'm going to read this ginormous book called The Ball's Round by David Goldblatt. Can't wait for that. And I'll be starting the audiobook of the God of the Woods. I know I'm late on that, but that's going to be a good one. And that's going to be my listen for the ride on the way down.
There you go.
Yeah, no doubt. So what are we manifesting for this game or this week coming up?
Let's go at least 7 points.
At least
Not start out with a loss.
Yeah. I'm manifesting a Jaelin Howell banger for the first game. Let's go all the way back. Outside the box. Just put it on frame. Get it on there. Knock it out. So everybody, follow the show on YouTube, which most of our shows are going to be there, and we're doing special content there. We just did an interview with Michelle Betos, which is only on YouTube. Amazing. She's a legend of the sport. Get a chance to go listen to her. She's incredible. We got a half hour's worth of questions in, and I have like 300 hours worth of questions for her. So we're going to have her back because she's got so much to talk about. And she's such a legend of the sport. Can't wait. We're doing some quick news segments when news pops up, and we're doing those just on YouTube. So go find us there, Soccer Over Gotham. And then we will see you at home this Saturday. And lastly, I can't see it, but this is why you got to get on YouTube so you can see this fancy jacket that I got on. This is the Gotham season ticket holder jacket. It is pretty cool. It has patches. It says always building on it. It's got a really cool, it's like baseball kind of jacket. Beautiful satin inside. Really cool. Excited about that. Maybe I'll wear it this week. It's going to be windy. So
Mhm.
we will catch you all there, guys. So we will see you soon. Thank you again, Justin, for coming on. This is awesome. Again, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at Justin Ashcraft on almost every social media platform. My two podcasts are called Views from the Bridge, the Philadelphia one, and Mongols, the Pittsburgh one. And you can find those out there as well. And would love to connect with some more Gotham fans.
Let's go.